teaching you guys how to say the words, so we're going through the sounds. A, E, I, O, U. I'll skip it. Why? Okay. A, E, I, O, U, A, I, U. On here it says plug the nose and make the sound. But I can't. We can't plug the nose and make the sound. So I'd rather have you say we're learning how to use where the words, the sounds come from. So the sound is that's what we learn with the guttural sounds. Nasal sounds, it's just nasal sounds. There's a one called explosive CH. Okay, hold your throat like this. See where you feel your muscle is moving. Right here, the second one. I know, isn't that weird? That's why I said you have to learn in Lakota language. Now, I'm sure in all the foreign languages, other tribes' languages, you have to learn how to use all of your throat, even down to your stomach, and then you do it all the way up to your nasal. Because if you speak English, I told them, I said, if I learn how to speak English, it wouldn't be too hard. I could stand around here and talk all I want and say whatever I want, and I could be making all kinds of noises and telling you all kinds of expressions and all kinds of stuff. I can be making all kinds of numbers and colors and all this stuff. And what am I doing? All I'm doing is moving my lips, right? I just move my lips for English right now. Other languages, you learn to use your whole system right there. So, here's a guttural G. See, anything with a dot on top is guttural. G. Okay, put your hands up again. Where's it coming up? It's like when a cat purrs. There's a real sound right here.
Yeah.
S is also a glottal stop. A glottal stop. Sh. A lot of people have hard time saying things like that. Because all of a sudden you're making a sound right here, then you're making a sound right here. So S with a dot is a guttural sound. Sha. There's a lot of Lakota words that have the SH sound in it. A lot of most of it. In fact, there's very few that has just a regular S. There's a P. Just a regular hard sound P. That's what it is. Hard sound. Anytime there's a line over it, it's a hard sound. A lot of the times it's the regular P, so you don't even have to make the sound there. Because the other ones have a different signs on it. Aha. Okay. Here's another P. It's got a glottal stop. Okay. These are really interesting sounds because I don't think anybody else has them. Oh, like you're blowing it out. Oh. Okay, here's another P, another guttural P. This is the one, yeah, it's got a different mark on it. See that? The mark is on the typing. There is Lakota font that they sell them. I'm not too sure if they sell them at the bookstore. I know they sell them at Perry Edge, but if I can get some, you can buy that Lakota font. And what it is the sounds with these, the letters with these sounds in it are on the typewriter. And you use certain ones so that you can come out in your computer. I guess it's on mine, but I don't know how to use it yet, so I've just been making up my own. I've tried it on my phone, on my text stuff. I'm computer illiterate, so it's kind of hard for me, but my brother's been teaching me. He even bought me everything. Do it like this, and like this. Okay, okay. That's it. I don't know how yet either. So, but there is a Lakota font, and once you find it, you get it on your apps, and you can do it on your computers, and you can write these Lakota words because they'll come out like this, or they'll come out with these guttural sounds. So this guttural sound is. Okay, here we go again. Ha, ha, ha. How does that sound go into your mouth? Ha, ha. And it's like, you remember when something tastes real bad, like Tabasco sauce, you know, you get that. That's where the song comes from. That's where the word comes from. A lot of our words come from some kind of a sound like that yecha, you know. Yecha, that word, yecha. That's that. So, K with a glow stop. King. King. So learn to recognize the sounds because we're going to be using them. A hard K, regular sound, skill. You can either use this or you don't have to use this. It doesn't have to be there. Just a regular K, skill. So it's really important that you know your sounds because that way when you're writing your sentences, you know what sound you're talking about or what subject you're talking about or, you know. There's another K. Dot on top, okay? A guttural sound. Cola. You all know that. Cola. Cola. Where's it at? Cola. Cola. Oh, okay, there it is. A little bit further down. Cola. It even vibrates into your ears. You learn how to find where your mark is. You're going to start learning how to make those sounds. Cola. Okay? Hey, you know what I told? No, I'll have to go off the subject, but I told these kids. Tell you something funny again so you guys won't fall asleep on it. Today I told those kids, I said, I'm going to really ruin some things for you that you probably grew up believing. And one of them is, it's in here, tanka. All it means is big meat. Ta is the beef itself, the meat. Big meat. Yeah, big meat. Kalo, tacha, anything that belongs to the animal. Taha, the hide, tachu, the spine, the ribs, you know. Everything that belongs to buffalo. At that time we only had buffaloes, we didn't have cows. But now we can use it also in cows. You know, tashuba, kaniga, all these different kabalo, anything that goes inside is a ta. It's a meat. Because we eat it. It's food for us. Because we were in a neologism class. Neologism is taking a Washiji word and turning it into a Lakota word. And a lot of the terms that came in, the papers that came in were from schools. Geez, some even asked about what's an astronaut? How do you say astronaut in Lakota? And well, how do you say spaceship in Lakota? You know? And we were all sitting there thinking, holy smokes! You know, they want us to teach them how to say Lakota, make those into Lakota words. You know, it was hard. But when he started to trick us into these things, the other one I was telling Gina downstairs, there's another term that I'm going to be teaching later on, and we're going to find words because they're out there. Is a mirror. Okay, a mirror. We call it a meal glossy. And I thought, that's a really old word, meal glossy. You know, where did that come from? It's a really old word. And he said, oh, come on, now think about it, you know. Okay. Meal glossy. Meal glossy. Okay. Mirror. But remember, we don't have the R. Gloss E. Glass. There's a lot of them like that too. And there is. You know, literally that neologism, we found out there's a whole bunch of words like that we took. But we're not the only ones, you know.
It's all over.
All over around the world. When I was in Denmark, when they used to talk the language, I used to sit there and listen to them. Pretty soon I went up there 4 years in a row to Albertson with him doing summer camps. And I used to listen to their talks, and pretty soon I start catching on. It was really easy once you start catching on, because a lot of that's that substitute language I was telling you about. A lot of it is substitute language, but at the end you make it into a Danish ending. But there's a lot of them. There is a term for it. So okay, here's a T. Taku, Dona, Dua. Here's the guttural T. Hello. Where's it coming out? Hello. Hello. Well, stop. Eh. Where's it coming out? Just like we have O. Eh.
What else is there? Confusion. J. That's the sound. Confusion. There's no marks or anything because it's a word and it's a sound in itself. Wojaja. Wojapi is a good one. And then the funny thing is, you know, I always say, hey, you guys know how to speak Lakota? No, well, shall we go have some soup in Wojapi? And they said, okay. And I would end up laughing, and they didn't know why I was laughing. They never thought that they learned how to say Wojapi already, you know, and they know what it is. Yeah, it's a fruit pudding, that's in English. Except that nobody wanted to go explaining all that stuff, you know, because you can use choke cherries, plums, and grapes, and you can use, you know, raisins and all kinds of stuff, you know. And so rather than explaining the whole thing, because if you explain the whole thing, that's, you know, that's like saying, that's that substitute language. Substitute language, you put too many substitute words in there, just trying to explain one thing, you know. So nobody ever tried, and so everybody just used the word Wojapi. And all the white people that come, you know, they said, what is that? No, that's a Wojapi. Okay, well, can I have some Wojapi, you know? Did you learn any Lakota? No, But pass me the Wojapi, okay? You know. I mean, that's how, if you ever really look around and watch, that's how it is. That's how people talk, and they don't even realize that, you know. I always think about things like that, and I'll end up laughing my head and watching, noticing things like that. So that's the one, you know, Wojapi, Wojaja. Sometimes people expect, like takoja. Takoja. I mean, what I hear on there is a J, takoja. But when it's written, it's a Z. Yeah. Because the Z also has the same sound as the J. So it always gets mixed up. Yeah. You can still write it as a Z. This is one of the rules. Once you start learning the language and you start writing it, as long as you recognize what you wrote, Gigi or Jaja, it's there's no wrong way and there's no right way. Okay? Never. There's no wrong way and no right way. A glottal stop. S-eh. S-eh. There's a sound in there. S-eh. 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 S-ah. S-ah. And it's crazy because nobody really uses that. But then sa is if you talk about something, you know, it's like something like that. You know, sa. Something like that. Sa. Or again. Or ake. You know, same thing, yeah. H with the glottal stop. Ich-eh. Ich-eh. Eh. It's way down here, right here. Eh. Ich-eh. You move different muscles again. Okay, we already did the guttural. Okay, we're done with all the sounds. Okay, here's what's gonna happen now. A, E, I, O, U. A, E, I, O, U. A, E, I, O, U. A, E, U. You do not hold your nose when you're talking, because I don't want to say, E, O. E, U. It's real simple, real soft, okay? There's a lot of slang language out there. If you listen to people talk, there's a lot of slang language out there. If you listen to second language learners, like a lot of these white guys when they're talking, if you listen to them, there's a lot of substitute language. Substitute language. Substitute language is when you're describing the whole thing of something to make it into a conversation. And you end up more of a descriptive language. You end up describing a lot of stuff. Descriptive language is really, I mean, if somebody was talking to me that way, I'd stand there and I'd think, I got to figure out what he's talking about. How am I going to catch on to that? How am I going to answer to that? Because it's descriptive, substitute language. There's a whole bunch out there. I always said there's descriptive language, substitute language, slang language. There's baby language. There's traditional language, which a lot of us speak. Then there's a spiritual language, and there's an alcohol language. I used to tell people that, and they didn't like that. They didn't like to hear that. But if you start to learning, one of the things that you recognize when you're learning how to speak to Lakota people, or if you're in a certain area, they're going to talk about what's in that area. And if you start listening and start looking for and identifying things, you're going to start picking up that language, and you know what they're going to be talking about. You know what they're going to talk about. If you're in a restaurant and they start talking about food, you know that they're talking about, their language is all about food. If you're at the gym and they're playing basketball, they're going to talk about sports. You sit there and listen, pretty soon you're going to start identifying that language, how the words connect with everything that's in there. If you're fishing and they start talking about all the things in the water and all this stuff, pretty soon you get in that area, you start connecting all the words and catching. Our language has been through so much, and it's hard. And I know a lot of people who grew up hearing it, listening to it, but they've never learned how to say it. And that's part of that. It's those sounds, the linguistic part. You don't know where it comes from, how to make that sound, how to do that, because they get afraid of it. They don't want to be laughed at mostly. And so after a while, it's just dropped. When all you have to do is just learn to make those sounds. It's easy. There was one on here that's H. It comes from down here. Ho, ho. There's a sound that comes from way down here. Ho. It almost comes from your lungs and your stomach. Ho, ho, be. That's where the sound came from. When you cough and you say, ho, ho, be, hochbe, it came from the stomach, and we made it into a sound. Then we turned it into a word. So when you cough, it's hochbe. A lot of our sounds come that way. How we say it, like that beak bee. See, that sound is way back here. Beak bee, beak bee. There's a sound way back here. Beak bee. There's very few words that use that sound. In fact, I think one of them only has 3 words that use that sound, but we have it in our language. Kbeekbee. That's another one. There's a lot of sounds that we can make, And people are afraid to use their whole, their whole vocal cords, their esophagus, their lungs, their stomach, where the sound comes from. And a lot of them don't want to try it because it's new to them. A lot of it is new. But when you were a baby, you were probably making all those sounds, pa 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 pa, mama, all this stuff, And that's when you can catch those babies. You can teach them, make those sounds, learn. Pretty soon they start learning. Once they learn the sounds, then it's easier for them to pick up a language, learn how to use them words. One of the mistakes that the linguists did in putting our language together, they overused this. I really did a lot of argument with that. Almost all our words, they put E in it. And I said, no, it's gi. Gi. You have to say gi. I said, it's not gi. I said, you can't use that all the time. I said, it wasn't used all the time. I said, I don't know who taught you how to speak Lakota, but you don't use it all the time, because I said, some of them we have regular sounds. We have regular consonant sounds. So those are the sounds that you have to learn how to use. We'll see you guys next week, okay? Thank you very much.